Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Financial Services Industry stream of the Knowledge Graph Forum. It's good to have you all here. This would be a hopefully brief introductory talk to the actual show, which will begin in 15 minutes. My objective here is to give you a brief introduction to the company and to the use cases that we see, with a couple of general notes about how these use cases are accomplished. But first, let's start with the company. I know that we have been introduced, but for the uh, attendees who just joined and who already know the company, I would like to keep a brief introduction. And actually, I will point your attention to a couple of statements and figures which are interesting in these slides. We are first, yeah, we are definitely a leader, have been in the business for quite a while. We are profitable, sustainable on our own, and have like the best of the customers, which can we get out there. But this has been for quite a while. We have been really lucky to be leader in this really growing market. What has changed in the recent year or two have been actually the partnering network. I would like to use this opportunity to point your attention that in the last couple of years, we have developed an extensive partnering network, consisting of partners providing complementary technology services and solutions. Many of these partners' presentations you can see around in the conference, and I would definitely be encourage you to consider partnering with us if you're not already a partner. There are various ways to contribute. And the second thing which I would like to point your attention is this chart up here, which shows actually that the knowledge graph are no longer exotic thing. They are adopted all over the world, and we see interest in the technology from basically everywhere, quite even out, which is actually indicating and quite encouraging that we are part of something bigger. So, why they are looking into Ontotext technology? What are our reference use case? There are a couple of features which are distinguishing our prospects. First, we're always talking about big graphs and metadata. Here, these are actually quite old figures. Now, billion is the starting point, a lot of entities, concept, and heavy entity linking across these sources. We had excellent presentations on a problem which is close to my heart, which is the record matching or entity linking with text. Yes, and this is like a very much sought after capability. Okay, the ability to ingest is something, yeah, for starters, but the actual usage, the query performance is when it starts getting the value. So here again, some figures which are quite indicative of a system that we have in production, which means that a lot of updates, a lot of reads, reasoning, full text searches, and this is the typical usage pattern, which these are the foundational requirements that we can satisfy. Um, Thirdly, the use cases are typically involving a lot of text and graph analytics. This is related to either extraction of new entities and facts from text retrieval, similarity, classification, relevance, and important rating. These are, again, the key capabilities which enable the solutions of the cases. And when it comes to the another aspect, which is last but not least, these days we had a very interesting conversations with some of the biggest enterprises in the world. And the interesting thing that happens is that they always start with the non-functional requirements. They always start with, we need to put this in a serious production. We need to deploy this over across data centers, time zone, and time and availability zones. We have to make this bulletproof. How we can help with this? And I'm very happy to answer that this is actually has been in the core feature of our technology. So this is what we after. And the other thing is the data quality, because when you have the data and you're ready to run production systems on top of it, being able to monitor and take care of the data quality is a crucial capacity. So in brief, what are the groups of use cases? Yesterday, um, we talked about the general use case that we see, but let's say specifically for the financial services industry, I can group in these quite general buckets. They are intelligence, company intelligence, M&A investment, asset management, or industry in general intelligence. Analytical queries related also with not only analytics, sometimes predictive analytics too. This is the first big group. The second is regulatory and risk. The more trivial, if I might call them, the compliance, the KYC, MLs, the sanctions use case, or the trader surveillance has been a big success for us. Also, the ability to do multiple joins over diversely integrated data silos has been tremendously helpful when it comes not only for analytical, but also for reporting and different other compliance questions, use cases. So this is also key. And the big thing which we see coming is the topic of operational resilience. This is more towards like the requirements of the next Basel framework, which says that you have to make your parts of your infrastructure really, really resilient. So here is the typical connected inventory use case, the data catalog, the data lineage is also enterprise knowledge graph use case. And yeah, this is what we see. So these are the general use cases. What is the typical road for success? And there are like two distinct paths to success. First is, I would call it more vertical. Create a data dictionary, a data catalog. Every data management methodology prescribes this approach. So create an inventory of your assets, a corporate resource when you can find your data, and mostly metadata about the different data stores, and answer capabilities like discover what is available, where it's stored, what does it mean, what's the quality, who's used this, what's the consumption interface, and to enable usage, basic usage scenario. They start usually from search, topical exploration, term annotation, recommendation, the different type of provenance, data in static, data in action. And this is the key usually horizontal way to approach your data dictionary with a knowledge graph. The other, which is a more of a vertical approach, when you focus on key data assets to your business. And usually it goes like this. Typically to our business, and let's say in the financial services, these are two typical key data assets which are crucial. It's either entities or product securities, let's say. So make your key data assets like in the best possible way. Treat them to enrich it, express it in the most detailed way, share the value and the meaning of it, expose it with convenient consumption interface, let's say to use and reuse, and of course, make it available and ensure resiliency. So here the capabilities is stuff to ingest, to express your model, to align it to external models also for interoperability and discoverability, enable different interface. This is the key. This is part of the Vasil's presentations yesterday. The key is to be able to provide the right interface for each stakeholders. And of course, DevOps also the resiliency, high availability. Yeah, you have this as a stakeholder too. And here on the right-hand side, you have typical usage scenarios, which are like a small demonstration of the more general capabilities. Ingest various types of data, yeah, provided via different type of APIs or content streams, integrate with business analytics tools and so on. Enable, of course, data science and machine learning. This is everywhere nowadays. So this is the more vertical approach. But what is usually crucial for the success of these use cases? Because one common thing that we can observe in these use cases share the key data elements, and some of these key data elements that we find really interesting, these are again entities and securities data. And we during the last, it would be almost 5 years, we have developed an extensive company data expertise. We are able to bootstrap your knowledge graph and bootstrap your entity intelligence systems with our familiarity with the different company data sets. And here they're classified by a couple of criteria. I would not get into the details, but later we will have the opportunity to listen to one of the key reference data set of Peter that is going to talk about the GLADE data, because it's becoming a crucial data set for reporting use cases. So this would be a key topic which we'll cover tomorrow, later in the presentation, sorry. And when it comes about the data, like nowadays, most of the interesting conversation which I have are about data, how we get our data in. And when we start to describe what data we deal, let's say this is more a slide which is most focused again on the entity type of data. This is typical structured data, your reference data which lives in like a reference data systems nowadays. So we have examples like the name, the structure, the industry code, so on and so on, of let's say a company, organization. You have the knowledge organization information. And here we had excellent presentations from Dave from Synaptica, Sebastian from Metafacts Talk. Yesterday, Pool Party made excellent presentation about how you should approach your knowledge organization in enterprise, and what like the intersection between information and data science. Dave from Synaptica put it really beautifully. So this is the key capability. They should be able to acquire this data and to use it to the fullest possible extent. Then it comes the data which is actionable, operational data. This is the transactional data. This is the pricing data. This is stuff which is typically found in your transactional databases. And here it starts to get interesting. Here it starts to get political, because these are systems which are quite crucial in running actually the heart of each organization. But it's very helpful if we can incorporate these data sets in the knowledge graph. So here we talk about, let's say, virtualization capabilities, being able to enable different consumption patterns. But this is key data points that you need to incorporate. And of course, the cherry is usually the data which has not yet hit the database. If we call it like this, is what comes from unstructured content, and it's not a fact which is soundly put in the repository. These are the unstructured content signals. Most typical, let's say, the M&A events, the role changes, the enforcement actions or corporate actions. This is stuff which is yet fresh and is yet to influence the assessments of the knowledge graph. And the key capability, especially in the case of the entity intelligence, which would be focus of the enterprise knowledge and Agnos presentation, is the ability to integrate all these types of data into one knowledge graph and to make it really easy to use. So this is where actually the benefits occur. This is when it starts to get interesting, because certainly you're enabling different, not only the use cases which I mentioned, but you're enabling different type of capabilities. You're able, let's say, if we focus on the capability, you have put organization in your assets by being able to discover and identify the assets of the business. You have introduced the structure by the knowledge organization system. You have collected quantitative and qualitative information by being able to measure. Then when you have these capabilities, you have the like to start to run the fun thing, which is usually to produce some kind of insights on the basis of analysis. When you have the holistic view on the enterprise, this is to the paradigm of enterprise 360, which EK are going to cover. Then these are the capabilities which are bringing very, very direct benefits to the business. Then we talk about, let's say, capacity. Here is perhaps what the focus of Kevin from industrial semantics would be: the ability to unify your enterprise assets, this unified understanding in a standardized, compliant way, which this is meaning deeply key to manage your assets. Of course, you need to do this at scale. You need to do this in an agile manner. And of course, you would need to be compliant not only with the regulators, but with the various technical standards. And this inevitably results in doing whatever you are doing right now, but you're doing it better. So customization is the simplest of benefit that we see in our customer, but always the most interesting thing is the new revenue that we enable, because when you have your data handy, easily reusable, and exposed for different type of usages, the new revenue comes easy. And usually the managerial benefits are also the control, which is the big picture analysis, the ROI analysis, the audit, and so on and so on, which are the typical benefits of applying enterprise knowledge graph. And with this, I would conclude the presentation and switch to the actual stream, which would, I will start the actual stream now. So I suggest you switch to Kevin Tyson's session, who would share 3 successes that we have with applying this technology. And out see you in the session in a minute. So see you there.